Hey there, everybody. So, I'm here today to make a pie crust. It's one of those things that I actually dread. I have procrastinated time and time again because I'm so worried about not having my pie crust turn out well or be easy to work with. And so I just somehow avoid doing it. And I know that I can go to the store and I can buy pie crust that's already made, but there's something inside of me that says, no, 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 this is not acceptable. I can't do that. So I'm back with an attempt at pie crust, and what I'm trying to put together is for tomorrow. It's for a quiche that I would like to share with Rhonda when she comes over tomorrow. And yeah, I want it to be from scratch because I want it to be special, and that is really important to me. So I'm gonna put the work in, but I just want to let you know how stressed out I feel right now. This is a new to me recipe for pie crust, and it starts with combining hot water with sugar, vinegar, and salt, and then you stick that in the freezer for it to become very cold for about 10 to 15 minutes, it says. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to get the water as hot as I can in this measuring cup here, and then I'm going to put everything in this little bowl which has a lid, and then I'm going to pop it into the freezer until it chills, and then I'm going to get my new stand mixer out and use it for the first time to make a pie crust as well. So cross your fingers and let's go. All right, here we go. I've got 1/2 cup of incredibly hot tap water. I did not boil the kettle for this. I just got the tap water very, very hot. I'm now going to put in 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. It said you could use brown or white, so I'm opting for the brown. It's actually golden sugar here. So I'm doing that. That's 2 tablespoons now. 1 tablespoon of good tasting vinegar. That's what it says. I really like apple cider vinegar, so that's the kind that I chose to use for this recipe. There we go, right to the top with that. And I'm going to put the lid right back on because I'm so afraid I'm gonna knock it over because I'm jittery. And 1.5 teaspoons of salt. So here's 1, sprinkle that around, and 1/2 teaspoon of fine grain sea salt. So now this is getting stirred up, and I'm going to make sure that everything is dissolved, and then it's going to go in the freezer for 10 to 15 minutes. Here we go, it's ready for the freezer. I'm actually going to set the timer in the oven to help remind me when it's time to get it out of the freezer again. This recipe calls for 2 2/3 cups of flour, so I've got my big bag down here on the floor, and I scooped into it and I'm leveling it off just with my hand, and I feel like I'm measuring the flour correctly, but if anyone has any tips on that, I'm all ears. There we go. Now the butter goes in, and next I'm going to use the stand mixer. Now the butter that this recipe calls for is unsalted, first of all, and also meant to be very cold. So I've just gotten this block out of the fridge. So I think I'm going to cut it in half, first of all, just with my Santoku knife here. And then I'm going to cut it into chunks. 3/4 inch chunks. And chop away until we have a lot of little squares. The trick I have heard is to keep the butter pretty chunky within the mix. And in fact, it's those lumps of butter that make your pie crust all the more flaky. So this is what I'm attempting to do. I want to really keep it fairly chunky, and I'm also not going to use the cream setting on the mixer. I'm going to use the mix setting, which I think will give me a rougher mix than the cream. I really don't want the butter to be fully mixed in with the flour. I want it to be what they call rough and pebbly. So that is my objective, and I'm almost done with this butter, and it's gonna go right back into the fridge as soon as I can get it there. There's my butter, it's all chunky, right in the fridge with that. First the lid, because I don't want it to absorb any odors that might be in the fridge. All right, we're back. I've got my chilled water, vinegar, salt, and sugar mix here, and it's ready to go. And I have my chilled cubed butter right here. The mixer is ready, and I've got the flour in the bowl already. So it says to mix the flour and the butter together on low, which I'm going to attempt to do now. Let's put it in. Okay, 2 more little cubes. Let's tilt this down, and I'm going to put the guard on. It also says, suggests that we should cover the mixer with a towel just to stop the flour from going everywhere. But I think the shield that I have here could do just that trick for me. I don't know. So I'm going to turn it now to the mix setting. There's mix. And I'm going to change the time to about 25 seconds. Oh, 45 is the smallest amount. There we go. Okay. There's not flour flying everywhere, so that's good. Still looking pretty rough and shaggy, which is good. That's what we want, a shaggy mix. So that's about 20 seconds there, and I'm going to cancel that now. So it says now to slowly drizzle in about half of the mixture. So I'm going to start this again, back to mix, select, change my time, back down to 45. I think that's the least amount of time I can have, yes. And let's continue and pour about half of this in. That's about half there. Ooh, wow, I like what I'm seeing so far. Let's see what else the directions say. It says if the dough comes together, you may not need to add all of the water. I feel like I'm going to add more water. Oh, so I've got quite a bit of buttery dough and quite a bit of flour by itself here, so I'm a tad nervous about that. Let's try again. Okay, that's enough. There we go. I am confident now that if I take this out, it's going to be okay. All right, so I'm going to transfer it over to my board, and I'm going to roll it out. Here's what it says: working quickly with floured hands, turn it out onto your board and put it together into 2 balls or discs, and then you wrap those in saran wrap, and it goes into the fridge to chill also. So there's a lot of chilling involved. We need to be really chill to make pie crust. Here's my floured hands. Let's go. Come on together, pie crust. Ooh, I think I'm happy about this. Yes, yes. Divide it in half with a bench scraper or knife. Well, I don't have a bench scraper, so it's gonna be a knife. And just roughly in half here. I'm not cutting my board, don't worry, or my mat rather. It's not too crumbly. I'm really happy about that, because the last time I made this, I almost cried. Yes, yes, it was also for a quiche, and it ended up being delicious, but boy, did I have trouble putting it together. So here we go. I also know there's another trick, and that is to not overwork things. So that's my first disc. I'm just gonna put it like that. That's huge, actually. Wow. And here is the second one coming along. Come on. Okay. Okay, there's 2 discs here. I can see good big chunks of butter in here. I'm just gonna lift this up and show you really quickly. See the big chunks of butter in there? Wow, it makes me want to eat it now. Okay, let's get the saran wrap show on the road, huh? Here's the first piece, or the first disc. There we go. I'm gonna wrap it up tightly now. Here, I think this is good. Yes, it's good. Okay, that's one. I don't think it needs to be perfect, but I want to get as close to it as I can. If this turns out well, I'm going to tell you how easy it's been so far. To be honest, the making it into a disc was the hardest part, just because I've been to the gym and my arms hurt. But generally, it's been very easy to put together. So I can't complain, and I have to say that I'm loving my new stand mixer because it's a really helpful tool. Down, up and over, up and over. I'm going to start flipping this now. I think that might be even better. And get this here. And now I'm going to flip it back, cover those ends, and voila! 2 discs ready for the fridge. All right, thanks for hanging out with me. Here we go.